Hey guys, Kyle, the Death Knight of Anime here, bringing you my review for One Piece episode 929. And I'll be honest with you guys, lately, and maybe it's just because of everything that's going on with the world, but honestly, with the way that with basically no manga with no manga chapters to review this week, it's really kind of screwed up my schedule a little bit. I'm just kind of having trouble saying, oh, what pretty much am I that it kind of clicked in me this week that, oh yeah, I'm not gonna have any manga to review this week, and it's like, yeah, it really kind of screwed me up lately. So yeah, but with that said, like I said, One Piece episode 929, and first off, the episode picks up in the aftermath of where it left off, with the Straw Hats and their allies meeting up after escaping the palace to discuss the next plan of attack. And without giving anything away, let's just say there's more than a couple moments in that little conversation that that are very easy to miss, but are also very revealing for a certain character and how his responses and a lot of what he says actively kind of exposes his true nature. But at the same time, these moments aren't overly blatant either. And the conversation in itself does very, but you blink and a lot of these moments you blink and you miss they're that easy to kind of that are glossed over, but they are important. And honestly, the conversation in itself does very heavily set up a reveal to come much later that has just become more obvious now than I first thought. Just pretty much of what was very subtly set up in just that one moment in itself. Yeah, let's just say that the pretty much later reveal, it makes a lot more sense than I first thought, honestly. Um, and but moving away from that though, you really gotta love how Robin managed to how in the short time that she was conducting reconnaissance at the palace, she managed to gather so much information, but at the same time was still so disappointed by the fact that she couldn't find a way in order to beat Kaido and Orochi. It's really like a very cute Robin moment it's very cute Robin moment just it's really just kind of a cute Robin moment with how she managed to grab a hold of so much information, but was still disappointed by the fact that she couldn't beat Kaido and Orochi, and it's really one of those cute Robin moments where you really wanna hug her and say, "It's okay, Robin, you did good. Now let's form a strategy around that." Honestly, Robin was so disappointed, but she gained a lot more useful information than what I think the rest of the heroes were expecting, and now they can use that information in order to formulate a plan around all that. Um, and hey, good old Sanji. Captain's locked up in a prison mine, and he's thinking about peeping on girls in the bathhouse. I mean, one thing we can never fault Sanji for is remaining consistent, and the man knows where his priorities lie. But where his priorities lie, so yeah, one thing you can't fault Sanji on is his priorities, I suppose. Um, but one thing I guess, but on a more serious note, I guess one thing I kind of strangely liked in this episode is how we see the pretty much like the newspaper being used in order to connect a lot of the details of what's happened so far, and it's done in a very interesting narrative way in the sense where and the new and with love, it's used in a very interesting narrative. It's used in a very interesting narrative way in the sense where, in some cases, getting too much exposition could seem a little bloated, but through law, reading the newspaper and telling us all these details that's kind of connected everything that's happened so far. It's actually a lot of the exposition is delivered in a very very natural way, which I have to appreciate. When it comes to delivering exposition, that's either one thing that is shown in manga can either make or break itself on. And when it comes to One Piece, it's one thing I continuously appreciate and they continuously how the series finds these ways to integrate exposition into the narrative naturally. Like again with Law in the newspaper, that was a very interesting like natural way to do it. Or at least in the way it was executed here anyway. I don't know how it would work with anywhere else. Now cutting back to the Big Mom pirates, we get a first major narrative clue in this arc that Big Mom and Kaido used to be on the same crew pretty much before they became the pirates they are today, which would make sense because despite how monstrously powerful they are, even they didn't become young overnight. That they would have to work up to that. But as far as which ship they served on and who they served under, that's a whole different beast in itself. In fact, just like Shanks, their past is very much weirdly directly tied to Roger. But I think just by me saying that I've already revealed too much. But I think just me saying that I've said too much already. But yeah, well, let's just say that being our first major reveal is gonna just opened up a Pandora's box for the series. Like there's gonna be so much we're gonna learn just from that one little detail alone. Of course, talking Big Mom herself, we see her and Chopper's group on their way to Udon to free Luffy, and honestly, if I have one major complaint with this episode, and honestly the adaptation with this arc as a whole, is that Toei appears to be adding moments that are making Otama overtly annoying. That's the only way I could describe it. I mean, don't get me wrong, when it comes to Otama, she's had her annoying moments in the manga too, but with the anime, and specifically her conversation argument with basically Hitetsu over the transponder snail in this episode, her overly enthusiastic and persistent attitude has really started to grate on my nerves more and more, and it's one of those things where I don't think Otama was given as much screen time as she has been given in the anime. And I think by nature of that, it's kind of given me an understanding as to why Oda hasn't utilized her as well, pretty much very often in the manga. Like one of my criticisms of the manga is that I kind of wanted Otama to be, in order to be more involved in the manga, but now that I've gotten that in the anime, there are moments that make me realize why basically Oda hadn't done that in the manga to begin with. Like you basically get too much of Otama, and she does get a little bit grating, if I'm being honest, or maybe it's just the way she's utilized here. I don't know, but yeah, Otama has kind of grown a little bit annoying, if I'm being honest with you, which is strange because in some ways which in some ways like when it comes to Momonosuke, he's equally as enthusiastic and persistent as Otama is, but he doesn't come off as annoying. I don't know what it is. I think it's probably just all in the presentation, but yeah. Now, of course, one interesting thing with this episode too is that we see Old Man Hyo's getting kind of brutalized by the. You see Old Man Hyo getting like constantly brutalized, but by the assistant warden or the chief warden or something like that. And then through that, we see Old Man Hyo's appreciation and respect for Luffy develop in this episode, as well as their overall bond. And the thing with this development is that in some ways this is definitely the turning point that shows that Hyo he's gained his resolve in order to fight back against Kaido and his men. So it's like almost a guarantee now that whatever happens beyond this point, Hyo has gained the resolve in order to fight back, and when the time comes, he's going to escape with Luffy when Chopper's group breaks to the prison. Of course, he's not the only one, but yeah, you see there's a little bit of like a resolve and development there developing now. But yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and on Crunchyroll. Death Night of Anime, signing off. Later, guys.